Latest football news, engaging debates,
and fascinating opinions.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio. Hello and welcome to Pitchside Talk. Here back on IO Radio's Fridays at 5 p.m. with me, George. How are you doing? I hope you're having a good week. I hope you have had a good week. I have. I'm a little bit hot at the moment. It's quite warm where I'm recording the show from today. And we've got another week of football action for you. And before we move on talking about the football this week, I better introduce our co-host and resident Ipswich Town fan who's absolutely excited because his club's finally done something in the transfer window. It is Dan. Dan, how are you doing? Enjoying the hot weather?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. This is the first time in so long I've been excited about football. You know, it's getting warm. Ipswich are making signings. The Euros is coming up. All's good.
Yes, all is good. Well, before I mention what's coming in today's show, I better mention the social medias as always. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk. Instagram is at Talk_Pitch. YouTube is both at Pitchside Talk. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss another upload that we do on there for previous shows and other additional content we do. Make sure you subscribe down to there. Well, what have we got coming in today's show? Well, we are going to be talking about England and their chances in the Euros this summer and their Sunday's game against Croatia as well as they kick off their campaign for success this European Championship. Also, we're going to be looking at the European Championships itself as it kicks off in a few hours' time between Turkey and Italy, 8 o'clock. So I'm quite excited for that. And also, we'll be talking about Ipswich Town, who have been rather busy this transfer window, and also in other stuff as well, which will all be revealed very soon. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about England this week and their chances in the European Championships on Sunday. Stay up to date with the latest footy news.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. It's Fridays at 5 p.m. with me, George, and Dan, as always. And now, before we move on, talking about England this week, I better mention the social medias. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk. Instagram is at Talk_Pitch. YouTube is both at Pitchside Talk. If you want to listen back to any of our previous shows, don't worry, they're both available on our YouTube and our Mixcloud at Pitchside Talk. Now, this Sunday at 2 p.m, England, they kick off their quest with Gareth Southgate and his 26-man squad looking to bring it home this summer for the European Championships this summer as they kick off on Sunday. For England, they won both of their warm-up games with 1-0 victories over Austria and Romania. Dan, such a big tournament coming up here, quite a lot of pressure on England this summer. A lot of their games are going to be possibly played at Wembley in front of a crowd. They're going to have them home majority crowd. But the main pressure is they are joint favourites with France for who won the 2018 World Cup, looking to possibly be lifting it as well on the 11th of July. But the Euros are here. England's chances, there's a lot of pressure riding on them.
Yeah, I think this is, one of it's a huge tournament because of the pressure that this England team have on them, because I think the whole country is expecting a good tournament after what happened in the World Cup. And obviously with the squad we have, I think it's, there's a lot of pressure riding, but I hope, the players can see past that, I guess, and put in, good performances all round to get far in this tournament, because, we don't want another repeat of pretty much all the Euros that I can remember. I think the first one I remember is 2008. So yeah, it's, it's going to be a big one. I think these two friendly games, I wouldn't read too much into them personally, just because there was players in these squads that aren't even going to be at the Euros, and to play these two games so close to the tournament, I don't think that's really happened before. A week before the tournament starts. I can remember, a month before the World Cup last time, but to have it this close is a bit strange. But yeah, I think, these two squads that Gareth Southgate played in the Austria and Romania games, I think there was, there's players in there that are gonna be playing in the Euros, but there was a lot that aren't going to be. And I think seemed a little bit, I was watching it thinking, what's the point in these games so close to the Euros? But, it's a good way for Gareth Southgate to get an indication of where his players are at and who's who's going to be in the looking for a place in that Euro squad. So I guess it was interesting for him, but I don't think it was good, really good watching for fans because performances weren't great. Let's just say that.
No, they weren't great at all. It was kind of quite boring. But I like how you chose 2008 European Championships because we weren't even there. That's
I know. Yeah, that's the first one I remember, and we weren't even there.
I'm happy times have changed now that we're now actually qualifying things. We're not actually mucking up and actually not qualifying. But as you said there about the warm-up games, some interesting sort of decisions Gareth Southgate played. Games were played quite close together. I'm not really too sure why, but I think Germany only played on a Monday. And they're playing on the Monday as well. So they've got a little bit of time, but they're playing their games quite close to the get a foot for the European Championship team start in a few hours' time. But the Southgate wasn't the easiest of warm-up games, I think we can say. A few little dilemmas, a few little injuries, but the main dilemmas is choosing that lineup for Croatia on Sunday. Players impressing, Jack Grealish impressing quite a lot. Fans now saying he cannot be left out. He was being fouled left, right, and centre constantly, but he was winning that ball back, recycling the possession, trying to get England forward, which is something that was, I think we could say, was lacking from the last sort of World Cup, having that sort of that player bring the ball forward a little bit. Will Henderson and Maguire, will they be risked after their injuries? They've been injured for a little bit of time. I think Henderson's been out since April. Maguire is still recovering from that ankle problem, but he's apparently getting better and better by day, but still no match fitness in him at all. Didn't even get any minutes. I think Henderson only got 45 in that game. Can Mount, Foden and Grealish even play in the same lineup? That is the next question. I think they all can, but will Southgate go attacking? Probably not, but attacking is probably going to be the best way for England this summer. Who's going to be playing right back? We've got 3 right backs who could play there, even maybe 4 if you count Ben White. We're not really too sure. But so for Gareth Southgate, some very big decisions to be made here. But as Harry Kane said earlier, this squad here is much better than the 2018 World Cup squad. But it's who's going to be starting is going to be the next question, because who do you leave out of all this lot? We've got so many quality players. We might as well just start playing the whole squad, really, because we haven't got enough positions for them.
I know he's absolutely spoiled for choice, isn't he, Southgate, this tournament? I think Harry Kane's. I think I agree with him. I think it's better. It's a better squad than we had in the last World Cup. I think attacking wise, we've got so many quality players, and I think a lot of people have said this, that we need to just go for it. I would start all 3 of Foden, Mount, and Grealish, just because I think we need to go for it. With all them playing, the creativity that will be shown with them 3 players on the pitch, I think would be fantastic. So, I think that's probably the opinion with quite a lot of people, that we need to just go for it. I don't think we're not hoping for, I think we're expecting, but not hoping for 2 holding midfielders. I think that's probably looking likely going into the first game against Croatia, because I think they've got a very, very good team, Croatia, haven't they? So I think Southgate, if he's not going to play so attacking in this Croatia game, it will be one of the other ones, because I think Croatia is going to be our toughest test of the group stage, I'd say. So yeah, he's got a lot of dilemmas all over the pitch, really, hasn't he? I think I wouldn't want to be in the job of picking between them 3 attacking players. I think choosing the right back is going to be interesting as well. Personally, I'd start Reece James just because I really like him as a right back, but I think he's most likely going to pick Walker there just because of that, experience at a tournament before. I don't think he's a bad choice, but I think I'd rather go with Reece James. I think injuries are obviously a problem with this squad. Obviously, Maguire and Henderson, we don't know whether they're going to be fit, but I think if Maguire is fit enough to start in the Croatia game, he will. He's going to be that player that will start if he's fit. So that will be definitely interesting to see. I think it's another story with Henderson. I think he probably won't start against Croatia. But yeah, I think he's got a lot of choices, and it's going to be, really vital to pick the right system and the right players that can play that against, a good Croatia team who, done us over in the World Cup semi-final. I don't think we should go into the game scared of them, because I think we have a better squad than them, but we just need to be wary, I think.
Yeah, we need to be wary after last time, really. We sort of entered that same situation really in the 2018 World Cup semi-final. We had a better squad than them, but they just had us on the night, sort of that experience still. But something I forgot to mention was Raheem Sterling. Well, even he starts. He hasn't played any of the warm-up games because he's been away with Man City. He's had a little bit longer break. I think Gareth Southgate, anybody who's going to be playing the Champions League final, will have a little bit more extended break to spend time with the families. But will even he start? That's the question here. We know he hasn't been playing too well really with Man City quite recently. He very struggled for goals, but it looks like at the moment, it looks like Rashford and Grealish are ahead of him, if we can be perfectly honest here, and that's a little bit concerning for him. But will even he have even a shout? That shows how quality England is. Somebody like him might be even left out of the squad.
Yeah, who's a player who's been a stalwart in that England squad for so long now, for years now. So yeah, it's really interesting to see that. It looks like them players are ahead of him. I know he hasn't, played in these games. And as you said, he hasn't had the best end to this season. And I think that's definitely affected, Gareth Southgate's choices going into this Euros. I think over these three group stage games, he will play a part, just because I think he's a player that can, we all know the runs he can do, and he gets past players like they're not there, doesn't he? So he's gonna affect the game somehow at some point. I don't think he'll start against Croatia, but he will definitely have a part to play in this team, and I hope he has a good tournament. I really do, because he's had a tough end to this season, and I think having a good tournament here and getting far with England in the Euros will put him in good stead to start next season for Man City.
Yes, hopefully it will. But one of the biggest news to come out of the England camp is the withdrawal of Trent Alexander-Arnold from the squad after suffering a thigh injury, which he picked up at the end of the Austria game. It was assessed 24 hours later, and it was as bad as Gareth Southgate first thought. It was put him out for 4 or 6 weeks, so he's out now for the whole tournament. A big blow here, Dan, for England with Trent out. We know Gareth Southgate said a few weeks ago when he did his press conference that he said that Trent was going to be in the squad to him personally. He sort of has changed his mind a little bit now, but we know how good of a good quality right back he is. But going further down the line really here, that's such a big blow really. But somebody like him who's versatile, you can possibly bring him on. We know the quality he has. We know the crosses he can put in. We know the free kicks that he can hit. This is a big blow really for England in the right back area, but for the whole squad in general.
Yes, it is a massive blow, and we all know the game that he brings to that Liverpool team, and I was hoping he'd be able to do that in the Euros. Obviously, the injury he had is so unfortunate. It wasn't a great evening for him in the Austria game, because I don't think he put in his best performance at all. And then he goes and gets that injury, and I feel sorry for him, of course. But I think it's definitely going to be a blow to that squad. I guess it's good that there's backup and there's good quality backup as well. But I think the balls he put into the box, and that if we got a set piece on that right hand side or a corner, he can whip them in, amazingly. And I think we're going to miss that now that he's not there. So yeah, it will definitely have an effect, and it's really disappointing. Let's hope next tournament he's there and fit, because it's just sad to see, isn't it?
Yes, it's so sad to see. But with him now out the squad, Gareth Southgate had to choose one player as his replacement for the injured right back Trent Alexander-Arnold, and he chose Ben White as the chosen one. Ben White, he played in both the warm-up games. He played against Austria. I think he got 45 minutes he played in the Austria game. He earned his first ever cap at England at senior level. He hasn't even played in under 21s, under 18s, under 17s. It's his first ever time playing for England. And he's impressed in both games, really. He played the whole 90 against Romania. Dan, we know how good Ben White is. He's impressed this season with Brighton, and he did that with Leeds as well. He's looked very good in these England games here. We know how versatile he is as centre-back. He's a ball-playing centre-back as well. He can the ball is comfortable between his feet. He can get it out easy. He's not fumbling around like some defenders like Harry Maguire is sometimes trying to get the ball out, but we know how good of he is there. But do you feel this is the right decision with all the other players that we had on the standby list? We know James Ward-Prowse, he started in the Romania game as well. We know how good he is as well. Not many numbers really in midfield, only 5, as now 10 defenders going. But with Lingard and also Watkins on the standby list, are you a bit surprised to see Ben White here with sort of the other attacking options that we have, and we're taking another centre-back? So now we've got 5 centre-backs going to the Euros. It's a little bit odd by Gareth Southgate.
It is, yeah. It's a very strange decision. You know, I was expecting James Ward-Prowse to get the call up. So to see Ben White, you know, fair enough to him. He's had 2 good games in the friendlies, and he's obviously showed enough to Gareth Southgate to warrant that. But I think, Lingard, who's had a fantastic end to the season for West Ham, second half of the season actually, when he joined on loan, and James Ward-Prowse, who, I think I feel really sorry for him because, for example, Jordan Henderson, who hasn't played that much this second half of the season for Liverpool, has he? But James Ward-Prowse has started every single game for Southampton. He's put in fantastic performances. So I think he should feel hard done by not to get that spot. But yeah, fair enough for Ben White, because he's put in, he's been a really good player for Brighton, and I think overall himself and the performances he's put in, he deserves it. But I personally wouldn't have taken him. It's a bit of a strange decision, and as you said, with the lack of midfielders we have, there's not many. I'm quite surprised he has gone for another defender. Do we think we'll really see him in any of the games in the Euros? Because I don't. I really don't see him. Maybe he'll come on if there's an injury or something, but he's not going to be starting, is he? So I don't know where he'd fit into the squad. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Well, we don't know. He might be starting in the first game against Croatia on Sunday, because we still don't know the extent to Harry Maguire. We don't even know if he's going to be even risked at all for a couple of games in the Euros, but we'll have to wait and see. But like we said at the top of the segment here, England, they're starting their quest for glory this summer on Sunday. Gareth Southgate has said not reaching the semi-finals will be a failure. I know me and you, Dana, we have discussed in the past really that semi-finals is a minimum requirement here, like we've got in the 2018 World Cup. But can England actually do it? They are joint favourites. I think they're actually favourites, actually. I think they're ahead of France in sort of the odds a little bit. I think they're 4-1 to France's 5-1 here. But if England play their cards right here, they're going to be playing most of the games at Wembley. I think if they win the group, they'll only be flying away once, which is to Rome in the quarterfinals. Then all the other games will be at Wembley here. But this is the thing here. They're going to have the home advantage. So surely that's going to make them favourites going into this.
I think that's probably the main reason why, isn't it? I think if you look at the squads, you'd probably say that it's France, Belgium, and England, wouldn't you? That are the 3, really, really good squads in this tournament. Obviously, teams like Portugal and Italy, they'll be the ones behind that who have got, I think, a dark horses in the competition. Germany as well. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see what the home advantage does to us, because with fans back in the stadiums, it's massive to have home fans. Can we go all the way? It's going to be tough to go all the way, isn't it? I'd love to say that I think that we'll go and win the competition, but I want to be realistic. Do I really think that we'll go? I think we'll reach the semi-finals, and I think, as you said, we've said that that's a minimum, and I think we'll be able to do that with the squad we have. But if we come up with France in the semi-finals, or Portugal or Belgium in the semi-finals, we've done it so many times where we get to that point in the tournament and we just fall away at the last minute. And I know there's pressure on the squad to do well this tournament, and I'd love to see us get to the final and win it. I'm not saying we should go into this tournament scared of these teams. You know, we definitely shouldn't be. We should be going into those games thinking we could get something from it. It's just hard to say that we'll get to the go all the way and win the Euros, because I just think realistically it's not going to happen. But I think we'll get to the semi-finals. Let's see what happens in the semi-finals if we do get there. If we get to the final, I think that'll be definitely be a success of a tournament.
Dan is still predicting a semi-finals for England this summer. Let us know what you think. How far England are going to get to go in this European Championship tournament? Let us know on Twitter at Pitchside Talk. And when we come back, we're going to still be talking about the Euros. We'll be talking about Euro 2020 as a whole. We're not going to focus about England. We're going to look at the whole competition itself, as we have 24 sides competing out for that European Championship this summer. So when we come back, we'll be talking about that.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. It's Fridays at 5 p.m. with me, George, and Dan, as always. And now, before we move on talking about Euro 2020 this summer, I better mention the social media. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk, Instagram is at Talk_Pitch, YouTube it's got both at Pitchside Talk. And don't worry if you missed anything from today's show, it'll be up at 6 p.m. on Fridays. So if you missed us talking about England and their chances in the European Championships this summer, don't worry, that'll be up at 6 p.m. And now, today, less than 3 hours to go, the European Championships will be kicking off with Turkey versus Italy in Rome. The Euros might be late by a year because of the pandemic, but it's here at last. It's in 2021, but it's Euros 2020. It's marketing. That's all I'm going to say. But the tournament's here. It is in store. We've got 11 different countries, 11 different stadiums, going from Wembley all the way to Baku, with 24 international sides taking part this season. And we're going to look at each group that's happening through from Group A to F. I'm going to be asking Dan a very important question. Who's going to be qualifying out of those groups? We're going to try and predict who's going to be the third place team thing to come out, because that's basically potluck. It's down to many factors. So I'm going to be asking Dan who's going to be the top two qualifying out of those groups. So firstly, Group A, Italy, Switzerland, Turkey and Wales are in this group. An interesting group here, Dan. I think we say Italy, they reached the quarterfinals last time out in Euro 2016. Didn't make the 2018 World Cup. They sort of had a little bit of a resurgence. They've now got back to that sort of strong form. Turkey and Switzerland very equally matched here. I think we know how good those sides are. I think Switzerland, they haven't even won a knockout game since 1938 in the World Cup, something crazy like that. But for Wales here, they're looking to sort of repeat the fairy tale. They're one of the home nations here. They're looking to repeat their fairy tale from Euro 2016, reaching that semi-finals. It's been a little bit tough for them this time. They haven't got their normal management of Ryan Giggs. They've got Robert Page instead. But who's going to be qualifying out of this group here?
I think this is a tough one, because there's one that is the obvious one, but then the other three I think are all evenly matched. So I'm going to go for Italy to win the group, and then to go through in second place, I'll go for Switzerland.
Fair enough. Yeah, you could basically say any of those three, really.
Yeah, it's a difficult one there.
It is such a difficult one. And now we're moving on to Group B, which has Belgium, the best ranked side in the world, the best international side, better ranked than France. And France won the World Cup, but Belgium are the best ranked side in the world, with Russia and also the 1992 winners, Denmark and Finland. Dan, I think we can see one side that's going to be qualifying out of this group quite easily. But who's going to be claiming that second place? That's going to be a bit of an interesting story here with this group.
It is, yeah. The second place is going to be an interesting one. Obviously, I think it's going to be Belgium to win the group, isn't it? I think they've just got the better squad, and I think it will be between Denmark and Russia. I think Finland, I don't think they have the best squad. I know Timu Pukki, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I think I'm going to go for Denmark to finish second. I think they've got a decent squad. Obviously, they've got Eriksson and
Schmeichel.
Can't remember anything. Yes,
Schmeichel.
yeah. So Schmeichel, yeah. So yeah, I'll say they'll finish second.
And also as well, Champions League winger Anderson Christian as well. He's in the squad as well.
Oh yes, yeah. Of course.
I'm looking forward to what they called it, Pookie Party or something they called it last time he was in the.
No, something like that. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that Summer. Well, now moving on to Group C, and we have Holland, who are back in the European Championships for the first time after failing to qualify for the last two international tournaments. They didn't qualify for the 2018 World Cup. They didn't qualify for the 2016 World Cup, Euro, sorry. They qualified last time for the World Cup in 2014, which saw them finish third place in that group. Also, Ukraine, they're in their first European Championship since 2012 when they were the hosts. Austria are in this as well. And North Macedonia for the first time ever in their 27-year history here. Dan, it's great to see Holland back. We've missed them a lot. Not the Holland side that we know from the past, not missing quite a few key players here. Donny van der Beek, he's out now with an injury. Also, Virgil van Dijk, he's been out with an injury. Well, he's not made this, but it's great to see Holland back. But who's going to be coming out here really out of this group really? Because Austria are a very well matched side. Ukraine, they've done well before in the past, especially in Euro 2012. But also North Macedonia here. We have to remember here, they beat Germany in a friendly or in a qualifier here, but they could possibly cause an upset here. Their first ever time being in the European Championships.
Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see. Obviously, sorry, good to see Holland, back in a tournament. They've created so many good moments in Euros and World Cups before, so good to see them back. So I think they'll win the group out of these four, even with these injured players, crucial players. I think North Macedonia could create an upset, but I think we're going to go for Ukraine to finish second in this one.
Oh, Ukraine!
Yeah, I know Austria. They came out. They did okay against England, didn't they? I just don't think they have enough goal scoring threat to get through the group, and to North Macedonia to cause an upset. Not sure. So there you go. Left is Ukraine. So there you go.
We'll now move on to Group D, and this is England's group. In this group is England, Croatia, Scotland, and Czech Republic. Dan, simply, who's going to be qualifying out of this group? I think we know one team that will be, because we have to be a slightly biased on the show because where we are based. If not, bye-bye. But yeah, who's going to be qualifying out of this group here?
I'm going to say England's going to win it, just because, as you said, we're from England, so England are going to win the group. I think Czech Republic, I don't think they'll really get anywhere in this tournament, unfortunately. It's going to be interesting to see how Scotland do, but against an England and Croatia side that are, two really good sides, I just think it's going to be too much. So I think it'll be England to win the group, Croatia to finish second. I think that's probably what a lot of people will predict on that one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will. I thought we would be seeing a Souček masterclass for Czech Republic and a Andy Robertson and a Chiellini resurgence, get them out of the group. But, we'll have to wait and see. And for Group E, we have Spain, Poland, Sweden, and Slovakia in this group. Who's going to be making through to the knockout stages out of this group down here?
I think Spain will probably win the group. They've had a tough time recently. I don't think, obviously, their squad is nowhere as good as it was, 10 years ago. That World Cup winning squad 10 years ago was fantastic. So obviously their squad is not as good as it was back then, but I still think they've got some decent players in there. So I think they'll win the group. I think it'll probably be between. I think it'll be Sweden. Will Sweden get through? That'll be interesting. Yeah, I'm going to say Sweden to finish second because they did pretty good in the last World Cup. Obviously, came up against England in the quarterfinals. So I think I'll go for Sweden to finish second. Actually,
I'd be interested to see what happens to Sweden because I know they've got no Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's out. Robert Lewandowski, as he's famously called, he's home, but he hasn't done well in international tournaments. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. And finally, Group F, or the Group of Death. It has got the famous nickname because we have the favourites France in there, and also the three-time winners in Germany and the defending champions in Poland and Hungary as well. We cannot forget Hungary in here. They're in this group as well. They did actually all right in the 2016 Euros. They did okay. But Dan, this group is so tight to go here. We've got France, the favourites. We've got Germany, who are slightly on the resurgence here. This is going to be Jurgen Löw's final international competition with Germany before he leaves, before he's replaced by Hakim from the former Bayern Munich manager and in Hansi Flick. And also we have the defending champions in Portugal here as well, who are looking to defend their title and have actually got a better squad this time than they did 5 years ago. But this squad here, this group here is going to be so tight to call.
Yeah, this is the one I didn't want to predict because obviously you need to leave one of them teams out, and I think France will probably win the group. I think they've got a really good squad still, and I'd say they're my favourites personally to win the whole tournament. So I think France will go through top. Germany or Portugal. I think, as you said, Germany are having a resurgence at the moment. They've been, they recently beat, was it Latvia 7-1, I think? Really good performance in that game, in that friendly, going into the Euros. But, Portugal have got a good squad. The additions of, the obvious one player, Bruno Fernandes, it will be a big difference for them, I think. This is going to be really tight. But I think I'm going to go for Portugal. I'm going to go for France and Portugal to go through. Germany to miss out again for another tournament. Let's see what happens. Cool. So I think that's easily going to be one of my wrong predictions, though.
You never know. It is the European Championship. No. Anything could be thrown up. And I'm actually going to ask you one final question here. Something I haven't even asked you at all. Who's going to be winning the European Championship summer? Who's going to be lifting that trophy on the 11th of July?
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned it a little bit in the last group, but yeah, I think France will win it. I just think the depth they have in their squad is just amazing, really. I guess their striking department's a bit meh. I know Benzema and Giroud, they're decent players, but he's not a striker, is he? I meant the striker. He's not going to play up front by himself, is he? He's going to be bombing down that wing. He's going to be very dangerous down there, yes. Unless they play Griezmann up front by himself, because I think they do like to play a free, don't they?
Yes, they do.
So, yeah, that lone striker, Benzema, Giroud, good players, but we'll see. But still, their team is fantastic, and it's going to be really, really tough to get past them. So yeah, I think France will be lifting the trophy. Two major tournament wins, I think, for them.
Yeah, well, they'll be doing like the repeat when they won the 98 World Cup and the 2000 Euros. They'll be doing the same as Spain, who won the 2008 Euros, the 2010 World Cup, and then they won the 2012 Euros. So they could be following those very legendary footsteps. And that's everything for the European Championships. Today, next week, we will be talking a bit about them more in depth because we'll actually have some results. England would have played twice by this point, so we'll be able to talk about that. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about Ipswich Town this week. It has been a very few busy weeks for the club, and we're just going to jump straight into it right after this.
Pitchside Talk, footy debate from the Premier League Outback.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on iRadius Fridays at 5 p.m. with George and Dan as always. Now, before we move on talking about Ipswich Town this week, for a long time we haven't talked about Ipswich Town, but before we move on and talk about them, I better mention social media. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk, Instagram is at Talk Console Pitch, YouTube and Mixer are both at Pitchside Talk. And if you want to listen back to any of our previous shows, or even this one, if you missed anything from today's show, talking us about where we were talking about Euro 2020 and England's chances in the European Championships this summer, do not worry. It'll be up at 6 p.m. on a Friday straight away after the show is done. And now, Ipswich Town time. It's been a long time. We haven't talked about Ipswich Town, but it has been a busy few weeks at the club with Mark Daxton coming in as the new CEO. The kit's revealed with a Divide tour on them. The season tickets going on sale, which saw the phone lines broken because Dan called one too many times. Dan. And two new signings coming through the doors at Ipswich Town and Portman Road. And the first signing under the new ownership, a game changer, Mark Dash and Paul Cook, was Wes Burns from Fleetwood Town. He has signed a 3-year deal for an undisclosed fee. Dan, you said roughly about £250,000 is the fee. We're not too sure, but that's the reported fee after his contract was extended and it was triggered and extended by Fleetwood Town at the end of the season. Dan, a pacey right-sided attacker, can play multiple positions. He can play right wing, he can play right mid, he can play right back. Mark Dashton here, he's not mucking about at all. I think he started the job on the Tuesday. 2 days later, he's got his first signing in here. in Wes Brown. He's made 33 appearances, 5 goals and 3 assists this season for Fleetwood Town. But he knows Burns. Sorry, I can't speak. Burns. He knows him from his time at Bristol City here. So this signing here it makes perfect sense. Also as well, he scored against Ipswich Town on the final day of the season for Fleetwood.
He did, yeah. There was a tweet on Fleetwood's Twitter that I saw someone share where it said Ipswich soon with a picture of Wes Burns before we played them. I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, really good signing. Pacey winger, as you said, can play right back as well. I think Mark Ashton, he was probably one of his targets from the start, I reckon, when he knew that he was coming into Ipswich, because he worked with him at Bristol City and Oxford before. He was standing there smiling in the picture, weren't he? So, first of all, really good to see Mark Ashton coming straight in and doing what he needs to do straight away, and signing Wes Burns, which I think it will definitely be a smart signing. I've seen, as you said, around quarter of a million. I guess it could rise to 500,000, I think, from what I've seen. But yeah, I think it's a sign of good things when the opposing team that have sold their player to us are sad to see him go. And we saw that with Wes Burns. The Fleetwood fans were really disappointed to see him go. We haven't seen that in a long time, have we? Like last year when we signed Ollie Hawkins, no disrespect to him, but we didn't see Portsmouth fans saying, "Oh God, we're so sad to see him go." But we've seen it with him. Yeah, and as you said, we saw him score a really good goal at Portman Road. He assisted himself, didn't he? He tried to pass it forward, but he ran onto it anyway, and then just smashed it into the bottom corner, which was, a really good goal. So yeah, can't wait to see him at Portman Road, because I think this will be a really good signing, and it's good to see them Ipswich tweet. We've signed for an undisclosed fee. It's been a long time since we've seen that as well. It's usually free or loans, isn't it?
I think that what was the last undisclosed fee was probably Kane Vincent-Young. That's about 2 years now. Yep. 2 years ago. I mean, and before that, I can't even think before that. I
think probably Jackson. Maybe we signed him for money, didn't we? Yeah.
So it's nice to see Ipswich Town spend some money, but the main thing here about him is he can play a versatile amount of positions here. We said about earlier on, it looks like it's going to be if Kane Vincent-Young is fit with him, and Kane Vincent-Young goes forwards, we know Brown will go, Burns, I can't say his name, Burns will go back. This has been a long day. Burns will go back because he can play right back. So there's quite a lot of fluidity here between the two. But he just sounds so exciting. Just what we're hearing so far and what we've seen, it's going to work in this Paul Cook system, isn't it? This is a player that is built for the system.
Yeah, I think so. First of all, I think you're thinking of you got in your head Wes Brown, the former Man United player.
Oh, no.
But yeah, I think he's a player that will really fit into Paul Cook's system. And I think we all have an idea of what that's going to be. A 4-2-3-1 with pacey the fullbacks and wingers, which I love. I really like having pacey players down the wing. So I think he fits into there perfectly if he's going to play on that right of the three behind the striker. He'll play well there, and I think if things happen to Vincent-Young, which could happen again, couldn't it? Because we've seen, fingers crossed. Definitely fingers crossed. But we've seen, he came back this season and picked up another injury. I don't think it was as serious his first one, was it? It looks like he's going to be back for pre-season. Fingers crossed again. But yeah, I think if Vincent-Young is injured and can't play, I think Wes Burns can fit in that right back role really well, because I think he played a right wing back for Fleetwood, didn't he? In a back. Well, they played a back three, I think, with him as wing back, if I remember. So yeah, I think having that versatile player, I think that's what Paul Cook is and Mark Ashton are really. It seems like that's what they're looking for in the transfer window, doesn't it? Which is, I think it's good to see. We haven't had a lot of versatile players recently.
Well, when one signing comes through the door, expect another one. It's like buses. When you see one, there'll always be another one. And there was another signing only a day later. And it was Lee Evans becoming the second signing of the summer, the 26-year-old from Wigan. Previously played under Paul Cook in League One and the Championship when he was at Wigan. He has signed a 3-year deal, for the midfielder. Dan, another signing here. It shows that Town are definitely not mucking about. They're getting the players in that they want. It's very interesting. He's got experience with Paul Cook. He knows how Paul Cook's system works. He did very well under Paul Cook's system in the League One, helping them get promoted, be the champions actually to the Championship. Went back to Sheffield United and came back to Wigan and then sort of then settled in there and they got his full place there. But somebody who's really we know Paul Cook knows what he's going to expect from him. He's got good experience on him and also as well, captain the material here as well. But the thing is, he's sort of that DM midfielder here. So now we're possibly looking at a new midfield where we might not even have Downs or Dazelle in the midfield. But this signing here is so exciting.
It is, yeah. Really, really exciting signing. As you said, I think Paul Cook, he's a manager that likes players he can trust, and Lee Evans is that in abundance, isn't he? Did he have him at Portsmouth as well? He might have done, but I know he definitely had him at Wigan. And as you said, they went up as champions. A fantastic midfielder at this level. He played for Sheffield United in the Championship and played well for them. So at this level, I'm massively pleased with that signing. And you said it leaves into question what's going to happen with players like Flynn Downs, because this seems like a like-for-like replacement, doesn't it? I see it. I guess maybe Evans is an upgrade on Cole Scouse. we'll see. But I think he's that type of player, isn't he? He's, pick the ball up in midfield and spread the ball out wide. I guess he's a strong defensive midfielder. I think he has played further forward as well. You mentioned before we started, he has ventured further forward as well. I'm not sure if that'll happen for us. But yeah, I think, I'm definitely really happy with this signing, and let's see how he does, because it's going to be a completely different looking team at the start of this year, isn't it? And to see players like this coming through already, it shows the intent the owners and the manager have.
Yes, and also as well, captain and material as well. He has captain at Wigan as well, so it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Well, just moving on before we end the show today, there's actually a rumor flying around at Ipswich Town at the moment. It's led to believe it's semi-close to actually happening. It is Matt Crooks from Rotherham, another midfielder. He's set to be making a move to Ipswich Town. As we currently understand at the moment, Town have got to put a bid in for the 27-year-old midfielder who's heading into his final year of the contract. Dan, another good player here. Bit of an interesting one, really. Rotherham, I think we're going to say, are going to be Ipswich's rivals this season. They've just come back down from the Championship, but he's a very good player in himself. He's 6'4". We've seen him play before at Portman Road. He absolutely bossed that game in the midfield. I think Rotherham won 2-0 on the night. But another interesting player here. Imagine a midfield here of Lee Evans and Matt Crooks. Oh, that would be beautiful, wouldn't it?
It sounds good, doesn't it? I think he's a fantastic player, and to get him off Rotherham's hands, who, as you said, are going to be our rivals this year. To get a player like that who's been brilliant for them to come to Ipswich, I think that'd be a massive move for us. I think he'll probably attract Championship attention this summer. I think there'll be lower end Championship clubs looking at him, but if we can tempt him to come here, that'll be an absolute brilliant signing. I think for Rotherham, he kind of played in that 10 role. Maybe he came back a little bit just to help out that midfield, but I think he is that type of player. But the thing is, to me, he seems very quick for a 6'4". He's massive and strong, but he seemed quite quick when he played against us. He's twisting and turning around our defensive midfielders in that game. I was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Seeing this, really tall midfielder doing that. I think he scored both the goals actually in that game. So yeah, I'm really excited to see that we're linked with him and looking to put in a bid. And I think it'll be interesting to see how much, because I'd expect him to be worth up to $1 million. It'll definitely be interesting to see if our owners are willing to pay that, which I know at the moment it seems like they are, because we're getting the backing. So I really, really hope this happens because I think it'll be really good for us. And as you said, a midfield of Evans and Crooks in there, maybe another new midfielder because we've been linked with players like Sam Morsey as well. Imagine that, a midfield of Morsey, Crooks and Evans. I mean, that's just
Or
100 points, 100 goals. Yes,
oh,
please.
there you go. Or what about Max Power? There you go as well.
Yeah,
That'd
Max Power
be a good one as well.
Yeah.
Well, actually mentioned about it, he has actually got some interest from Nottingham Forest there, looking at him as well. So looks like it's gonna be a little bit of a battle to win the signature of him. And that is everything for today's show. That's everything. We're literally about to actually run out of time. The referee's actually put the whistle to his lips and blown it for full time. And well, I want to thank you very much, Dan, for being on the show today, talking about England, Euros, and Ipswich. Will you be joining me next week where, well, I guess we'll be talking about Ipswich Town again because there's going to be more signings. I think at this rate, I think there's going to be 3 a day at this rate. How many people are going to get through? But will you be joining me for next week as always?
I will, yeah. And then, the Croatia game would have happened by then. So it's going to be a good show next week.
Yes, it'll be a fantastic show as always. So before we go, I've been mentioning the social medias. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk, Instagram is Talk_Pitch, YouTube Mixcloud, both at Pitchside Talk. And don't worry if you missed anything from today's show. Do not worry. It will be up in a few minutes' time, 6 p.m. So Friday on the YouTube Mixcloud. It will be up there. So I've been George. It's been Dan as always. We'll see you next week and ciao.
Yeah.
The whistle has been blown for full time. Tune in next week for another jam-packed show.